Shawn Michaels recently named his pro wrestling Mount Rushmore, and I want to read you the quote. To me, I've always felt like there's, I don't know, they're just your personal favorites, I think. But yeah, I've got a few. Mine date back to the mid 80s or late 70s. I always put Terry Funk in there. I usually put Harley Race in there, Ric Flair. And then the fourth one's always a little tough for me, but it goes to Tully Blanchard because that's who I grew up with. When you hear that and you hear the guy who's essentially number two in the company creatively of WWE say that you were on his Mount Rushmore, what does that mean to you?
It kind of makes me a little bit speechless. I know that I tried to be the best performer that I could be, and I mean you got Terry Funk, Harley Race. I'd have to throw Dory Funk in there too, and they were all world champions.
Yeah,
and Flair certainly. And and those were the guys that were making the big money. And if you're gonna try to emulate anything, you would want to emulate the people that are the stars.
absolutely.
You wouldn't want to emulate somebody that was on the second match.
Yeah.
And but as a tremendous talent that Shawn was, it humbles you to think that somebody would hold your abilities and your careers to that level. So I am honored and humbled at the same time.
You had an opportunity to work with Shawn when you got to the WWF with him and Marty Jannetty as the Rockers and you guys as the Brainbusters.
Yes.
Did Shawn ever bring this up to you about watching you when he was growing up and getting into the business or anything like that?
No, they didn't. But the biggest tribute, I think, and I don't know that a lot of wrestling fans would greatly understand this, but when I was in a match, Arn and I were in a match, me and Flair were in a match, we were in an 8-man match, whatever, the baby faces did what we told them to do because we could make them look better than they could make themselves look. And when you do that, and I watched maybe a couple of months ago the match in Madison Square Gardens that Arn and I had with Shawn and Marty. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was, my mouth dropped open just watching the things that we did in 18 minutes and the crowd reaction and all of that. And that's what it's supposed to be. This wrestling is the entertainment business. And if people aren't screaming and hollering and responding to what you're doing, then they could be at the corner ice house.
Yes. You're watching hockey and basketball and all the other options you have.
Yeah. So, but it was, those guys were so talented and so good to work with. And it was just, I don't want to say it was like a night off, but it was a absolute enjoyment to go into the ring with those guys.
Knowing what we know now and 30 years later, and Shawn, multi-time world champion, Hall of Famer, Marty, not so much. Were you surprised to see the ascent of Shawn, or did you always assume he's going to get there at some point?
Oh no, he was phenomenally talented. And it was you got the right ability to sell, you got the ability to make the comebacks, you can talk, you have the look, you have everything. And I mean, he was destined to be a superstar.
Have you had any conversations with Shawn recently? Stopped by any shows, seen his work in NXT, anything like that?
I saw him briefly at the Saturday night's main event
Yes.
in San Antonio.
Yep.
And he was certainly very, very busy. And I was just there to walk out and with Arn and hold up four fingers and let the people cheer a little bit and then go back. But got to give him a hug and shake hands and that was about it.
It's got to be satisfying to know someone as high up and the legacy he has in the business give you recognition regarding being on his Mount Rushmore. Who's on your Mount Rushmore?
That's probably a pretty good question. I don't know if I can get it down to four. But I was very, very fortunate to become friends with Luthez.
Wow.
And Luthez was 35 years world champion.
Yep.
And Lou taught me a lot about being a star and probably put my career up over the edge. So Lou would probably be there. I would, the Funks, Wahoo McDaniels was one of my great opponents. And then we switched him heel for a little bit in North Carolina. And that was when Dusty became the booker. That was our first sellout, was me and Wahoo against Dusty and Mulligan. Oh my gosh, that was pretty dynamic. There were probably, Dusty for me was an unbelievable opponent. When he was booking, whenever he got whatever, throw me against him and we made money.
Yeah.
So that was dynamic. And you can't nix the Briscoes either. So I've got 8 people already.
It's a tough Rushmore.